So we were going to do a quick summary of where you guys are heading. And Lisa, you were going to share what you thought was hard. And then
Right.
maybe TJ, some of your ideas related to that. And then we would wrap up with Jen sharing a few tips and strategies with you.
That sounds good. Well, we're finishing up bleachers this week, and then next week um, we should be ready to start the
Short stories.
the short stories and the nonfiction. And I went ahead and tried to layer them so we'd have. So right now we're concentrating on fewer short stories than I normally would, so we can layer them with the nonfiction and the ads, more like the park. And so we'll read those, and then we're going to go into. So that'll be about 2 weeks. Then we have Thanksgiving off, and then we'll go into Much Ado About Nothing, and then we will spend a couple of weeks on that, and then it'll be Christmas break, and then after that we go into finals, and then after that we'll have to plan again.
Yep.
So I think they'll have trouble with the writing assignments, and so we kind of talked yesterday about giving them the topic sentence and practicing a little bit beforehand with just and I think it helps if they see us do some pre-writing, and we can put even our pre-writing on the Elmo, so they have a sample of that. So they'll have trouble with that, and they'll have trouble with Much Ado About Nothing, but I'll have, they'll have a little comic to see first, and I've got just a super shortened version, and then we'll watch the movie, and we'll stop it, and we can discuss it as we go. And I don't know, I don't think it's that difficult, but maybe it is. It's just hard to say. I've taught it for years, so of course it's not difficult for me.
Yeah.
So there'll be parts, but we'll stop it and discuss. So that's where we're going.
All right. And TJ, what do you think are some strategies or things you're going to put in place for specifically the kids with disabilities related to that?
The writing, especially to give them graphic organizers and to walk through that graphic organizer together, and then how do we use that graphic organizer to make it into a full work of body, so it's a full paper. I think that's going to help quite a bit with our kids. They like to see that visual of the graphic organizer and moving it over. And then I thought with a lot of the stories to do some of that U, where we had the two different U's, and then we kind of come together as a group. I thought that worked really well when we were doing bleachers. I thought maybe we could try that again for some of the short stories, or even for the Shakespeare.
So a little bit more of the station teaching model with the two U's in the room. And would you be parallel teaching that, or station where they would rotate? Like, it might be nice to do one of you do plot setting and the other do characters of the story, and then let the kids rotate. That would be more of a station model, and then maybe the next time do a parallel where you both cover everything.
Yeah.
I'd be curious to see if you chunk things like that, what difference that might make for kids too.
Okay.
And then with the graphic organizer, just one quick clarifying question. Have you tried or seen Webspiration?
I haven't personally. I'm just used to the old traditional house model, where the roof's the main idea. You have your 3 rooms, and then your basement's your closing. So you just get your basic 5-paragraph graphic organizer.
I was just thinking it might be one to try with a student that's really struggling, because Webspiration is more like a web, and it's on the web, but you can also add images. And I would be curious to see if you could add pictures to it, what that might do for a couple of the kids in the writing. So that's just something that you guys might, what's the image I'm going to have for my main idea, and what's the images I'm going to have for my supporting details in the story. It would be curious to see if that had any impact on their ability to write. And then what I think you could do is fade that, and then eventually ask them to do that themselves.
Very cool.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah, go ahead, Jen.
TJ, I heard you talking about the house model and I actually use that as well. Does it have, the one that you're using, does it have words on it already that says supporting sentence and then all the different layers of it, or is it just the image itself?
It's just the image, and then in the 3 houses, there's the line, and it says topic, and then a 1, 2, 3 for your 3 details. So there's not a lot of wording, but there's a little.
I have one, and I'll have to see if I can dig it up and send it to you, that I've used with both students with disabilities as well as students who are English learners as well, that actually has the words on it for you, and then it scaffolds it up so that students who don't need the words, just the model is there, and then it moves them step by step into doing an actual outline. So gradually you scaffold them up to the point where there's a full outline, and then it has the pieces of the houses on the side of the outline, so they're not only learning how to write and how to do the graphic organizer, but gradually they're moving away from the graphic organizer into something, higher learning. So let me see if I can find that. If I don't have it here, I know I can get it faxed to me, and I will send you guys a copy of it, and I'll send you the different levels of it, because that way you can have some students who are using the one model, some students who are, higher, are using something a little more advanced for them.
Absolutely. Thank
Yeah,
you.
that sounds good.
And is there any pre-teaching that you think, Lisa or TJ, that will need to happen for the kids, where maybe there's a day, Lisa, where you do complete review and TJ takes a group, or vice versa, TJ does a review and you take a group, and really pre-teach all of the much ado to a group that really, if you don't, they're just not going to be successful?
We could do that.
We could probably do that. I could think of a small group that would definitely benefit from that. So yeah, I think we could probably try to do that someday.
That's good.
And so TJ, have you taught much ado before, or is this the first time for you?
This will be my first time. I've read it.
So Lisa, what I would recommend, if you guys are comfortable with it, is to flip it and put you in the role of special ed teacher, and TJ put you in the role of review from class. So you can review in a way that Lisa maybe wouldn't normally do it, and use kind of your strength. And Lisa, you could pre-teach much ado, because you're going to have a much deeper, as you said, you've been teaching it for 10 years, with some of those really sticky details that TJ may not even think about. And so the challenge I would give you is to think about the things that are really, really hard, that are the gray areas. So they don't need to be taught the black and white. They need to be taught the things that, I call them the duh factor. And that would be fun, that you would get a chance to do some individualized instruction. And then TJ, you would kind of get to be, in charge of the large group. And that would kind of flip your roles a little bit, because I think you guys are so advanced as a co-taught team. I keep giving you challenges that I would normally give in year 2 and 3, because you're so very comfortable with each other. And I think that would be a great role reversal, and it would be fun to hear how you both feel about that.
Okay.
Yeah. So Jen, you had a couple of ideas you want to share very quickly, or did you share those yesterday?
Shared one of them yesterday. I actually was going to share the idea of doing the station teaching like you had talked about, Dr. Deeker, where you separate the groups up, and then you two rotate around with one story, and have some students doing, the plot, have like Lisa doing plot and TJ going around doing setting, and moving around the groups that way. So that was actually going to be one suggestion that I was going to give. The other way that you could always think about doing short stories is giving each group a different story that they're working on. And then they do a full share out with the class itself. And you could do, have you done reciprocal teaching in your classroom, Lisa?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, so I'll send you some information about that as well. It's an interesting model that one of the doc students here had kind of taught me about. I hadn't really done it either, but it's an interesting model for doing small group work. So I'll send you some information on it, think about it, and if you have other questions, and we can talk about it next week. But the other things were things that we talked about yesterday as well.
And the good news is, Lisa, that the reciprocal teaching model came from the University of Illinois.
Oh, okay.
So last thing before we let you go, because I know it's time, when next semester, I wanted to clarify, are you guys co-teaching exactly the same next semester, or does anything change?
Same class.
Same thing.
Oh, fabulous. Okay, and then we promised to ask you, do you want to keep going every week? You want to go every other week? Completely your call. We're open to whatever works best for you guys.
Yeah, either's fine. Maybe what we could do is go every other week now, and then at the beginning, when we start teaching more something new, maybe, We lost you here.
No, you're still here.
At the beginning of the second semester, do a couple of every
Every week.
weeks, getting into that, and then so we might be able to do that.
Great, that's perfect. And then I will follow up. We haven't heard from the IRB office, so I'll follow up with them about this because I'd like to in the spring
Uh-huh.
start to think about how to put this into something that you guys would be comfortable with us sharing out with others and maybe writing it up into an article that we would share in practice, maybe in an English journal and a special ed journal. So
And then we're fine if you want us to videotape us at
Yeah.
all too. We just have to get the permission from the kids. The sign.
we would love that, but we will have to get permission, add that into ours to protect ourselves. So it's not
Right.
that we don't want that. We do, but we need to get permission for that. So, okay. Sounds great. Thank you for re-signing on again today. We appreciate it.
Yeah. And I want to tell you we're doing the brown bag exam tomorrow. And the practice with the chicken noodle soup that
Went
I used to
really
sample,
well.
it went really well. The kids were, I think, very excited
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah.
And their ideas were wonderful. So I think we'll let you know how it goes. So I think
Okay,
it'll
good. And so we won't sign on this next Monday. We'll sign on the following. Is that the plan?